What's up, guys? It's Colin Kelly here. This is a different little thing we're doing. We're trying to get a little bit more distance in here. I got the Mario Garcia Romo, hometown of Spain. Mario, thank you for coming along. Appreciate this.
Thank you.
No, it's
It's a pleasure.
definitely going to be a busy time for you with everything that's going on with conferences, with your past Penn relays. So let's start where,
Before we go any further, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. As track athletes, we're going to be running tons of miles every week and can be really sweaty and gross after a hard day of practice, but those days are behind us. Manscaped just sent me their brand new performance package, which comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Look, I've tried a lot of razors in my day, but the Lawnmower 4.0 is just different. Its ceramic blade helps reduce grooming accidents, LED light allows you to shave anytime, anywhere, and since it's waterproof, you can even take it in the shower if you want. When shopping with Manscaped, use code TWN at checkout to get 20% off your entire order, plus free shipping worldwide. Show up to your next meet looking good. If you want to be the best, you gotta look the best. Link is in the description, and now back to the video.
a hometown. Where are we from? I know we're from Spain, but give me the hometown.
Well, I always say I'm from Salamanca, which is a 100,000 people city, so quite not like a big city, but like medium-sized city. But in reality, I'm from a town, a very small town next to Salamanca. The name is Villar de Gallimazo, and it's only 200 people. And that's where I grew up. And I mean, I would go to Salamanca to train, to like go to school. For example, I started university there. I went 1 year to University of Salamanca. But I grew up in this small little town, trained there by myself pretty much every single day. Went to middle school with like 4 kids only. So that's something that sucks a lot of people, but I really enjoy, and I'm pretty proud of being from Villar de Gallimazo, and I'm being like, a kid that was able to be outdoors, like enjoy of like sports from a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, going from 4 kids to, Ole Miss, that's definitely going to be a huge difference for you. Talk about your family. Is there any runners, any athletes in your family? You taken after anyone specific?
Yeah, so I mean, my family, the crazy thing is like, we weren't sport people, like sports weren't big in my house when I was growing up, but then my brother got into running, and a year after I got into running too. And suddenly we became these huge track fans, huge cross-country fans, and we start traveling across the country, across Spain, just racing every single weekend. And now we are we follow track and field all the time. So yeah, my mom and my dad still live in this small town outside of Salamanca. My brother lives in Barcelona now, and he went to EKU. He was a runner. He ran, I think, 14 flat. I think like 0.5 of a second away from breaking 14 in the 5K. But yeah, I mean, it's it's a small family, but I always say that I couldn't be here without the support of my parents and my brother. I think they are like the biggest key figures in my career, and I'm very, very thankful for having them. So.
Family's always a key thing I feel with runners. I don't know what it is, but it's always like, I always gotta thank my family. So I get that. I see that you were a 6-time member of the Spanish national team from, very recent to probably when you were younger. How is that, especially from a young age? I know you said you just said you were from a smaller part of Spain. Just being asked that, what was that like? What was that first experience like?
Well, it was awesome. I mean, representing Spain is, I think, the biggest honor I can have. And, I was able to go with the Spanish team when I was under 18, I believe. So I went to Kingery for the first time. And then I was able to go to Workers' Country in Uganda, World Championships, World Under-20 Championships in Finland, European Under-20 Championships, European Under-23 Championships. So, that also provided me with a lot of experience, and, being able to just compete from a very young age against some of the best runners in the world. Like, I raced against Jacob Ingebrigtsen since I was under 18. So I mean, it's a big honor for me, and also it gave me a lot of experience for my career.
So were you first asked to join the national team for cross country? I know they have all the European national championships and everything. Were you asked for cross country, or were you asked for track and field first?
So first was from cross country, because we can compete in cross country from younger age, because we have like what is called war schools cross country championships, and I was under 18 at that point. But then I was able to also compete for track and field when I was under 20.
Awesome. Well, I mean, let's switch right into the cross country then. I see that you are a 4-time All SEC first team, which is SEC to be even in second team is amazing. So that's an awesome accolade. 2-time national team champ. That was your freshman sophomore year, which is probably the craziest thing to go there and then just be a national champ, and then you're an All-American. So talk to me about cross country. I know, like you said, that you were asked to be on the national team, and you probably had some great times in track and field when you were in grade school and high school and everything. But when you first came on, that's your first season, you guys already have amazing times and amazing team championships. What was that culture like when you first stepped on? Because you were one of the top scorers right from the beginning. It wasn't like you were that freshman and you weren't scoring. So yeah, talk to me about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a big change. I mean, I would say I was good in high school. I ran 242 for the 15, and I was pretty good in cross. So coming into the team, I knew that I could play a key role in winning the first SEC championship in school history. But definitely, just competing against people who's much older than you, that have much more experience, is very hard from the beginning, because you are in 50th in a race, and when you're not able to compete for the win, you gotta find that extra motivation. And what I did is I focused on the success of my team. I wanted to provide for my team instead of just trying to win the race individually. So I mean, I think that first season was incredible. We were able to win the first SEC championship after many years, losing against Arkansas, and being 7th at the SEC Cross Country championship was just amazing. I remember that day as one of the best in my career here at Ole Miss, and it was right at the beginning. So, but something that I always tell about that season is that I really didn't know the magnitude of the conference. So when I raced in conference, I didn't know it was such a big deal. I didn't know it was one of the biggest goals of the season. I mean, I knew it was important, but not one of the biggest, And I just remember all the upperclassmen, all the seniors in the team, all the juniors crying after winning, and it took me a little bit to realize what had happened. But once I did, I just enjoyed so much. And yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest moments of my career here.
Yeah, I can just see you getting there, winning. You're just we won. Yeah. Don't we have more races? No, I get that. No, yeah, conference championships are. Sometimes conference championships are even better than going to nationals. So I get that. Trying to stick down on cross country, how do you believe, some people would probably tell you you gotta just concentrate on the 800, you gotta concentrate on the 1500 and the mile. Why are you doing cross country? Kind of speak a little bit on that. Especially you're such a high performer in both cross country, indoor and outdoor track. Why do you think, or even what your coaches are telling you, that cross country is something that will help you to run a 146 800?
Yeah, well, I think there are two big reasons for me doing cross country. First is because it creates a base for your indoor and outdoor seasons that is going to be very hard to get otherwise. When you are used to racing 8K, 10K cross country, racing through rounds, having 3 1500s in 1 week, it doesn't seem like that much, So that's probably the biggest reason. But then the second big reason is, when you are racing cross country, you are racing very much for your team. So being able to focus on something much bigger than yourself, like trying to like win something that is not only for yourself but for all your teammates, all the people that train with you every single day, your school. Like that's something that just makes you appreciate running, appreciate your teammates much more. So I would say, like that's something that you cannot get through track. That is that the same way, because like you are just racing to win. Like you're not just racing to win a team competition. Well, yeah, you're racing to win indoor championships, the outdoor championships through your team too. But it's a little more different, So I think that cross country is a key part in any middle distance runner. Even if you're an 800 runner, I think you should maybe try to run some cross country.
Yeah, no, I always question that. I'm an 800 runner, and I always question, like, right in the beginning, I was like, why do I do cross country? I'm running an 8K and a 10K when I should be running an 800. But I learned after 4 or 5 years that, it really does help. I guess before we transition into track and field, I have to ask, are you a cross country guy or a track guy?
I would say I'm a track guy, but I can definitely run like cross country very well, I would say. And I would like to be, in the European team, like in this Spanish team for the European cross country championship in December, and maybe even like the world championship.
That'd be awesome to watch. I cannot wait. I was gonna say I feel like I'm gonna see some kind of national running by, and I don't know. I just feel like you're somehow, some way, you're just gonna win it. I don't know why. I feel like you just got them. I feel like you got them mentality. I think that's something too that, like, not to stay on cross country because I can't wait to talk about the track and field, but like I feel like watching you race the cross country races, and even probably for you feel that like in cross country you gotta really be gritty. You got like it's you're not just on a flat track all the way through. You don't got a little bank and for the indoor. It's like hills. It could be raining. It could be snow. I mean, you guys probably travel out west, but like still, it could. The conditions can be anything. So that's I feel like that's another thing that you probably can speak on. Especially you've probably seen from the top of the top to just a regular old home meet. Like the crazy conditions. Like what would you say the craziest condition that you've crazy experience or craziest condition you've had to run a cross country race in?
I have a little bit of everything. I mean, I've raced in Africa at altitude with like 30 degrees Celsius, like I don't know what is that, like 85 and 90 degrees, and almost 100% humidity. And then I raced with like minus 10 degrees Celsius in Slovakia. I raced with like mud and rain. So, and what is funny is I'm a huge Formula One fan, and many Formula One drivers always say rain like makes everybody equal, it evens the field out. And I would say that I would prefer, like when I race cross country, I wish it rains, because it evens the field out, and I feel it's just a pure God's race. And yeah, but every time I race cross country and it rains or it snows, I love it. I know it's hard to believe because I'm a track guy, so like you would say, oh well, a faster course is probably gonna be better for you, but I honestly just love the mud and like those conditions that make people like not want to race. But I just love it. So
yeah, so pretty much if you're seeing this and there's gonna be any precipitation in the air and you're racing Mario, just know most likely not gonna win because he's going to race out of his mind. That's awesome. Let's go down to track. Let's talk about the indoor and outdoor season. We got, and you just hit this 800 time. Was it 2 weeks ago? 146.9, which awesome. Congratulations on that PR. That race was awesome to watch. And then you have a 1500 PR of 337 that was hit last year.
Yep.
I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, like, I want to talk more about indoor first. But first question would be competing for a university and then competing for your country. What would you say the biggest differences are? What's the biggest differences? What's the, is there more pressure, less pressure? I know obviously they're both very
well. I would say so. Definitely the team aspect is, like I say, like when you race Europeans or world cross country or world championships, like you are racing for yourself more than anything. Obviously, you are representing your country, but you are aiming for more individual results. But when you're racing for like your university, you're just, also you're also racing for yourself, but you're also trying to, do better, like do the best for the team. And I would say the pressure is probably the same. I would say maybe a little more when you're running for your country, because it's a major championship. Usually it's a European final, world final, world cross country race. So I personally like pressure. I think I race better under pressure than when, like when it's a small race. So I love racing for both, and I wouldn't choose one over the other. So I would say, yeah, like they are both pretty similar in my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. Yeah, I don't get that, but I get that. I mean, I've never raced for my country, but then I wanted to talk about indoor. I want to talk about the indoor mile championship, because I feel like you had, just talking about the year prior when you ran, did you feel like you had something to kind of prove, or did you feel like it was just like you, because pretty much right from the beginning, like right from the get-go, you were the guy who everyone probably had in their top 2, top 3. Did you feel like you had something, to prove? And then, talking about maybe the DMR also, I know you probably have gotten a bunch of questions about that, of not participating in it. Do you think that helped you in the long run? Because you're just like, I have one race and that's it.
I think definitely I had something to prove in the DMR, just because, last year we lost against Oregon, the best team ever assembled in the DMR. Like, they broke the NCAA record, they destroyed pretty much. And then we had the second best time, and we were returning everybody. So I felt like, I had to like prove that our team was the best DMR team in the country. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it because I didn't qualify. So the initial plan was maybe running the 3K and the DMR at NCAA's, but the 3K time was just, the qualifying time was just insane. And because the way we planned the season, I wasn't able to like run a 3K with fresh legs. So I wasn't able to get the qualifying time. So once I ran the 353 in the mile, I was thinking, well, maybe I should run the mile, like maybe I should like try to like win a national championship in the mile. And honestly, I had the confidence to do it. I didn't think I had to prove anything to anybody. I was also the top returner from the 1500 from last year, but I felt like Morgan, after running 352, was the favorite of the race. And then if Jared was going to race it, he was probably going to be the favorite. But definitely coming into the final, I had the confidence that I was the best guy in the field. I said that after the race. I was like, well, I think I can win this race if it's fast. I think I can win this race if it's slow. And people, it's funny because people always, when it's a slow race, they say like, oh, like, like he just like did it on purpose, like he thought he had the best kick. But in reality, I didn't plan it that way. So me and my coach were talking about it. We had thought about maybe like 10 different ways the race could have been, and it was the way we didn't think. So I don't think I had anything to prove to anybody. It was just, like trying to like find the best race for me and trying to find the best event for me to win. So
yeah, that's kind of crazy you say that, because like obviously from an audience standpoint, you look at the race, you're like, this is exactly what he wanted, exactly what you need. It's crazy to say that. Like, that is like the one way you did not expect it to go. That's all. And
the way I didn't want the race to go, because when you are in that spot, you're in a vulnerable spot. Like, I was, I saw myself there because I wanted to be in the front. I wanted to be aggressive from the beginning. I wanted to cover any moves, but just people weren't passing me. I was, obviously, it got to a point at 800 meters that I wasn't gonna let that spot to go, like that position to get away from me, because I knew that if somebody passed me with 800 meters left and the pace increased, I was gonna be in a very, very hard spot. So I just expected the race to be fast, and it wasn't. So I just tried to defend that position from the very beginning. But yeah, like I think I didn't race the best race for me to win. So strategically, I was very good, but I think that was, if I was gonna lose anyway, it was gonna be like that. So
yeah,
I was able to win it. So.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a perfect race for you. You did what you had to do. It was really cool. You led from the front. Let's talk a little bit about So let's just fast forward to Penn relays. I have been dying to talk about this ever since you said yes to this interview. That 4x8 and DMR was amazing. I gotta say, congratulations to you and your team. That was awesome to watch. Ole Miss was definitely very, very happy. But let's talk a little bit about, how do you think that will be for leading into SECs? Do you think, talking a little bit just like as a distance runner to a distance runner, I know it's not it's not the same as a 4x1 or a 4x2 where, these sprinters can do this every week. For a distance runner, going out and running a 358, 357 mile, and then a 148, 147, 800, is not easy on your legs. Do you think, in your opinion, teams should be still sending these kids to Penn relays, or do you think maybe Penn relays should go back a week because then it kind of affects conferences, or you don't really think at all?
I honestly don't think that, people shouldn't race a Penn relays. I think the opposite. I think the more teams, it will be the best for the sport. I think Penn relays is definitely the coolest experience I've had in a track. Just seeing 10,000 people in a stadium cheering for you, and just being able to compete with your team in other season that we don't have that opportunity that often. I think Penn relays was definitely the coolest experience I've had in a track, and I'm glad we did it. I'm very happy we did it. I'm very thankful for my coach to take that decision, and yeah, running a mile and 800 maybe can be a little tiring for the legs, but at the same time, I think it's a good workout. It's a good way to break the training, because I had 3 really good weeks of training before that. So it was a good way to test our fitness, get away from Oxford and, test what kind of shape we are. And still we have 2 more weeks until conference, so it's plenty of time to rest. So.
Yeah, no, I think that I agree with you. Penn relays, I think we need more races like Penn relays, or I think Raleigh relays, I think it needs to be more on ESPN Plus or anything, because track and field really doesn't get that much. Cross country doesn't get that much. And I believe, and I feel like you would definitely back me up on this, that track and field athletes are one of the most not top tier, but when you think of a fit athlete, we have to be pretty much in peak shape all year long. So I definitely agree. I was going to ask, was there a reason you didn't do the SMR, your team?
The sprint medley? Or well, we were planning on doing the 4x mile, we were planning on doing 4x8, DMR, and 4x mile, but we never planned on doing the sprint medley relay, because we are more 800 to 1500 focused. Yeah. So yeah, maybe the sprinter squad was considering it, but some of them have to get regional times. So that's the reason why we didn't run the 4x mile, because some of our guys had to try to get regional times that same weekend, which was pretty unfortunate, honestly, because I really wanted to race the 4x mile as well. But yeah, it was a very cool experience.
Nice. So let's just talk about the celebration. That is kind of something that's been on Flow Track, Runner Space, it's been on our account. And in my eyes, I think it's, you won. You deserve to do it. It wasn't like you were flaunting. Just take me through kind of that last 50 meters going through your head for the 4x8 and then the DMR. What was going through your head?
Well, in the DMR was a little more intense because it was such a crazy fitness. So I was just trying to pass all in so hard. It was an intense last 100 meters. And then when I crossed the finish line, I think, I like to celebrate. I think celebrations are important because, you don't get to win very often in the sport. So by celebrating, it's just, a way to to just let go all the energy, all the stress that you had during the race, and also it's a fun way to make the sport grow a little more and give it a little more visibility. So I mean, me and my parents, like when we are practicing, sometimes we think, oh, like we could do this celebration, or like we could do this other one. So I just did the first one that came to my mind, and like it looked like very good timing too, because the camera changed right when I hit the imaginary ball. So yeah, I mean, I always say that if I'm gonna win a race, I'm probably gonna celebrate it, because like I said, you don't get to win many, and especially now, like when you go race at World Championships, Olympic Games, like maybe there's a very low possibility that you're gonna win it. So if you win it, like you should definitely celebrate it. And then in the 4x8, I just did the simplest celebration I could think of, like the two, because two wheels, and yeah, I mean, that was a little less intense, just because we had a pretty big gap on the rest of the field. But it was also like a great win, and we were very happy to also be able to win the 4x8.
Yeah. What was your inspiration behind it? I actually was looking at your Instagram, and I saw the inspiration for the two was one of your buddies.
Yeah. I mean, I used that a little to mock him. It wasn't like that. I did it too, just for like the two wheels, but like we've been making fun of him because of that picture. So I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna say like I used it because of that, but now the reality is just because we won the two wheels. So that's what the two was for.
Yeah, I my first instinct when you did the lob and the hit was, it wasn't like some people, like I have a couple of teammates that were like, oh, he just did it because it was like a lob, it was easy. I was like, I think he just did it because it was an out of park. Like, I think that's what went through my mind. So that's the coolest part, is people like look at it. So pretty much what you're saying is you definitely think celebrations aren't something where you're rubbing it into people's faces. You're thinking that it's more like you just won. And like, I love what you said, how it's like you don't win all the time. It's not like you're trying to be that guy to show off. You're showing your excitement. So that's a great quote. I love that. So going into SECs now, I don't know if you could say what you're going to be running, but do you know what we're going to be thinking about running, what we're thinking about doing?
Well, definitely the 1500. That's for sure. Like, I'm going to be running the 1500, and I'm going to, like, I think it's maybe the 800 is also like very deep in the SEC, but like the 1500 with Elliot, and Nas, like Martin Prodanov, like my teammates, I think it's one of the deepest fields ever assembled in the 1500 SECs, or even I would say in the nation, probably. So I'll definitely be running that, and then we'll decide between the 800 and the 5K, obviously, because we're trying to also score points for the team. But yeah, I mean, at home, SEC's at home. It's been a 40-year journey, and it's, I think, the perfect end for it. So I'm just gonna be trying to win it, and trying to like put on a show for all the people coming to Oxford that weekend. Yeah, no, that's gonna be awesome.
Very excited to watch that, and that's gonna be on ESPN Plus.
I'm pretty sure ESPN, probably SEC Network.
Nice. Yeah, definitely we'll tune in. Maybe we can do a little live. I'll do a little live stream, give you a nice little shout out. Definitely be cheering for you. Don't worry. And then looking forward to regionals and nationals. Again, if you can't say it, it is totally fine. But I want to talk about the 800, 1500 with, you being the mile champ, you would instantly think you're going to the 1500. But obviously this year, the 1500 is just stupid deep. In the 800, you're sitting at 7th in the nation, which is no joke with your 146.9, and then you're 38th with your 340. So do you know what we're thinking? Is it still going to be kind of I know you still have SECs, which is going to be probably a quick race. What we're thinking this year?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I want to race the 1500. I think, that's my event, and probably, like you say, I won the mile this year, so I'm gonna try to win the 1500. I think that's the best combo. I'm in a very good spot in the 100 ranking, but I feel like the training we've been doing is more directed towards the 1500. I was just unfortunate to run the 1500 in a day that the conditions weren't the best. So I'll be probably running the 1500 regionals and hopefully qualify for nationals. And I think we'll probably see it on the 800. You know, it's not for sure yet. Maybe I could try to do the Andrew Whitting double, you know, 800, 1500, but that's something you know, like that's something that blew my mind when I saw that. And yeah, I mean, it's still a possibility, but I think I'd probably focus on the 1500.
Nice. All right. So fans want to know about Westfly. How does Westfly help you? How does that, you know, I know he's got the hype. I know it's like, that's what I said. I was talking about indoor mile. I was like, if anyone's got the biggest fans, it's got to be you in the mile because of all the Westfly guys. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, talk about, you know, the fan base, how supportive they are.
Yeah, I mean, Everett is a great guy. I mean, you know, like he might seem a little different on Westfly, but like I know him personally, you know, like he's my neighbor and my teammate, and he's just a great guy. He's very supportive. You know, he's the first person to test you after a good race. He's the first person to test you after a bad race. And then like, yeah, like all the people that support Westfly are, you know, like, for example, today, like this weekend at Penn Relays, I had so many high schoolers that just coming to me and, you know, like asking about Everett, you know, asking about Kosia, like wishing us good luck, cheering for us. So like, it's definitely something, you know, like that I'm thankful for, you know, like just having all that support, and seeing Ole Miss also very, very thankful of having all that support.
Awesome. Yeah. It seems like such a good background to have. I mean, I see he's, you know, doing really well with that stuff. So that's good to hear. It's not like anything. I mean, you probably get some toxic stuff from random people, but like, I feel like having those like high schoolers look up to you is probably something so like, it helps you try to inspire them. And
I think that's something that, you know, many people don't consider. So many high schoolers feel like so much inspiration from us. So, you know, I always say that I'm gonna try to be the best for those people. You know, if I can inspire a high schooler to like, you know, get out and run or compete better, you know, like that's something that matters a lot to me. And, you know, like I said, at Penn Relays, I thought that was incredible. And, you know, like having a person asking you for your like autograph or a photo, it makes you feel so like so much value, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just great.
No, that's awesome. Cool. Do you want to get into some fan questions? It says we have like 5 minutes, 30 seconds left. So if it runs out, I'll just send you a quick Zoom meeting again, and we can record it. All right. All right. So we have a few. We have actually a lot. So let's start with, why did you pick, this is by Mo Johnson. Why did you pick Ole Miss, and what does it take to be recruited to the team now?
Well, I picked Ole Miss because, you know, like I had different offers from different schools, but something caught my attention from Ole Miss. I just like the, you know, like the way Benjo is playing things, the way he planned decisions, the way he, you know, built his training. And I just decided that was probably the best fit for me. And that's the reason I decided to come here. And in respect to the standards to get in the team, I'm not very sure about them. Like, you know, like first 1 year is a long way ago, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they're probably somewhere on the website at Ole Miss, you know.
Yeah. So. Yeah, something that it's out of your hands. You just gotta run fast. You guys are one of the top teams in the SEC. I mean, the SEC is a top conference to get into. So being Ole Miss and trying to get into it is pretty tough. So. Yeah, I think having coaches probably is one of like, you know, having the program itself probably is awesome, you know, seeing all these fast guys, seeing like all this support, but, you know, the coaching is probably one of the first things you need to look at. And I think your coach is definitely doing a great job with all of you guys. So that's awesome. Let's see. How many times a year do you train in altitude? This is by Sam Cruz 28.
None. I only trained in altitude once, and it was during the pandemic, during spring 2020. So I didn't really test my fitness after. Like, I don't know how like the fed it made of me, but that's something I still gotta try, and something I still gotta include in my training. and probably I'll try to do it in the next year.
Nice. Where did you do altitude training? Did you say? Sorry.
So I went to Flagstaff, Arizona. Yeah, for 6 weeks. It was really cool experience. Like, I think we were like 15 people there, like from the Ole Miss team, and yeah, we would like hang out with other teams. Like we ran around Flagstaff. Like we went to Winslow, like Sedona, all of these places, and it was very, very cool.
That's sick. If you were injured, what kind of recovery do you do? You do dry needling, chirotherapy, scraping? How do you like kind of prevent yourself from it?
Well, in terms of prevention, I try to like roll or do massages or like stuff like that every single week. Like I try to like be in the training room as much as I can, like consider my schedule. And in terms of like recovering from an injury, I always say cross training is key, because if you stay safe as much as you can, it's gonna just make easier the road back to recovery. Like once you start running, like once you start training again, it's just gonna be easier for your body to like gain that fitness back, and also it's gonna be a good way to like keep your mind out of like thinking like about the injury, like kind of like missing running. So I always say that if you can cross train in some way, like swimming, biking, or like alter G, it's gonna be helpful for you.
What would you say like your favorite cross training is? Are you a biker? Are you more of a swimmer?
I'm a biker, I think.
Biker.
Like I love triathlon, and I love swimming, biking, and running, obviously. But I love to get on the bike and like just listen to some music, especially a study bike, and listening to some music and trying to do workouts like that. I love that. So.
This one was asked by Josh Studolf. How do you prepare for different types of race tactics?
Well, one of the biggest things I do is I watch a lot of track like races. So like I would say I've watched every single 1500 major final since 1984. So Olympics, European Championships, NCAA Championships, like I've watched them all on YouTube, like all of them. So when I get into a race, I don't know, it's like kind of like an instinct. I just know when to move, like when to like maybe stay on the rail, maybe like attack. Obviously like I think fitness play a big role in that. Like if you're fit, you're able to do many more stuff. But I would say like I don't try to think much about races. I just try to like play by instinct and try to take the best decision on the spot. Yeah.
Nice. Like, what is your favorite recovery routine? Like, what you see these guys go like 7-minute pace. Are you like one of those teams that go like 7-minute pace? Or you guys want to just like take it easy, go like?
Well, I would say I'm a little exception in my team. Like most of the guys in the team want to run around 7-minute pace for recovery runs, but I prefer to just run a little faster. Sometimes I run with people, sometimes I run alone. But I feel like recovery days, you gotta just run as at a pace that your body feels natural at. So I just usually listen to music and don't even look at the watch for like if I'm doing an hour, I just do an hour. And then when I stop, sometimes I say, oh, I've run a little faster today, or I've run a little slower. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I always see my coaches always like never under 7:30, like never like, and I'm just like, all right, like, but sometimes it just gets so like tedious of like, oh man, I'm at 7:25. Oh man, yeah. So I think sometimes people need to just do what you're doing, no watch, just run for an hour, and that's it.
Yep.
Well, this is by Allison Wong 6. What other sport would you have pursued if not running, and why?
I would say there are two answers to that. Either soccer, just because how big it's in Spain, and I would have loved to like play soccer because I love to play with my friends. But I would say triathlon. Triathlon is like one of the sports I'm very interested in, and I think I'm definitely gonna try triathlon when I finish my career in running, because I just wanna like complete an Ironman, and I think the first step is to complete a triathlon first. So yeah, I think I'll do it in the future.
Staying in the running field still with the triathlons. That's something that's I could never. That is too much. This is by Jonathan Y. Choi. Ice bath or Epsom salt bath?
Epsom salt. I would say, I'm not a huge fan of ice baths. I don't find it difficult to like do them sometimes. Well, I mean, sometimes it is very difficult for me to get into an ice bath, but I just feel, like an Epsom bath, you just can, relax, like listen to some music, and like you're comfy. But in an ice bath, you're kind of like just like like very cold, and you're just hoping it finishes quick.
Yeah. This is actually good for the mental health awareness month. Kai Gibson asks, have you ever been mentally burned out, and if so, what advice would you give someone who is?
Definitely. I mean, I have moments, like I remember a couple of years ago, I had my first major injury, and I had to miss time from running. And I remember calling my brother, and I was like, hi man, I think running might not be the thing for me. Like I think maybe like my body is not able to handle the training. Like maybe like I'm not as good as I thought I was, and definitely I struggle with that. And I feel one of the most important things is surround yourself with like people that's gonna support you. People that's gonna like ask you how you are, like like who's gonna be willing to listen to you, and obviously you gotta be able to listen. You're gotta be willing to listen to them too at moments. And I feel like meditation is also one big thing. I feel like it helps me like to be focused on the present, kind of like like ignore everything that has happened in the past or that is gonna happen in the future, and just like focus on the present. Because sometimes we overthink about stuff, and I think like like it helps you like to just be mindful and like thankful of the present moment.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that even like the people like who are like you, like it's not like it just happens in high school. The people that are doing bad, like even the people that are doing amazing, have gone through this. So that's really inspirational to hear. This one was also by Kai Gibson. It's just a good question. What was your most painful race ever? And then the follow-up question was, which race were you most happy after?
I would say the most painful race was Oklahoma State and Salt Lake Cross, like 2021. Yeah. It was right after two races, after the DMR, after the 3K, and we had 1 day of recovery, and just the course was brutal. Like it was such a hard course. Like the last kilometer was eternal. It felt like a race itself, the last kilometer of that race. So I would say that was the hardest race. But then the happiest I ever been after a race was probably after NCAA Indoors this year, or maybe even after Penn Relays, after DMR. Like I just thought it was such a cool thing. Like like winning like a wheel with 4 of my best friends. Like 4 guys that have been in the team with me for like the last 4 years. That was also like like a very, very happy moment, and yeah, definitely one of the best.
I mean, yeah, that's especially at such a high stage like that with pretty much your 4 best friends. I mean, that's such an awesome moment. And I remember watching that again at my house. I was watching that race, the cross country championships, and it just looked brutal. It just looked so tough.
Yeah, Connor Mance made it look easy, but it wasn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's one of those guys that just has those faces that he looks like he's in pain all the time. You're like, oh, he's gonna fall back. He's gonna fall back, and then NCAA champion. This question was asked by Evan Rush XC. How are you gonna handle teaching Cade the Rebel Reigns? I don't know if that's a.
I think it means K flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be in the team with him. Like I think this is my last year. But I mean, I've met him. I've raced against him. He almost beat me, by the way. And I think he's a great kid. Like he's very humble, like very hardworking. Like very, very talented. And I think it's just great to have him on the team. Honestly, like I think he's gonna make the team better, and everybody in the team is very excited to have him. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say you always love to see the smaller, like not the smaller guys, the younger guys come in and then just start killing it, especially for him to almost beat you. That's kind of wild.
Yeah,
It's really funny. I'm looking at some of these questions. We'll do like 2 or 3 more, and then I can see some are from your Spanish friends because they're all in Spanish. And then there's some that are. This one is from Gabrielle Klein. And it says, "Ask if he'd still interview with me if you were a worm, or if I was a worm, if you would still interview with me." So I never know if some of these are your friends or
if he means if
I guess if I was a worm, would you still interview with me?
Yeah, I mean, if you can ask the questions, yeah.
I never know. I saw that question. I was like, oh, this has to be like one of his buddies or something. Nope, probably just
no. I mean, I don't recall a name, but like that's definitely a weird question. Yeah.
And this is by Cade Bethman. Why are you called the Spanish Rocket?
Well, to be honest, I don't really remember the origin of the name. But it's definitely something that is part of me now. Like that's my nickname. Like people in the team usually refer to me as Rocket. And to be honest, I don't really remember the origin of the name. I wouldn't have to go back into the group chats, and trying to find the first person that used it. But yeah, that comes from the way from like freshman year probably. So yeah, it's something that I use. I think it's very cool, to have a nickname and also to be able to use the rocket emoji.
Yeah.
When I type something on social media. So yeah.
All right. This will be the last 3. We'll go. This one's by Argy Proto. More celebration ideas.
Well, I think the bowl I did in the indoor mile was pretty cool, I would say too. But I would say classic one, "See You" by Cristiano.
Yeah.
The Cristiano Ronaldo celebration. That's a classic one, and I would need to think a little more about others. I guess you can always do the like a golf celebration maybe, or something like that. I think something that is gonna be funny, but respectful also at the same time. I wouldn't never do anything that's gonna be disrespectful towards the people I'm racing against.
That's good to hear. I'm gonna say I was thinking instantly bowling pins. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's just a little hard to do, I would say.
Yeah, especially after a race and everything. You just don't want to. And I feel like it's gonna be like one of those like in the moment kind of thing. It's gonna pop in your head. And you're gonna come up with a great celebration.
That's an important note too. Like you gotta be able to do the celebration after a race. So sometimes you're gonna be too tired to do it.
This is from Derek Rubies. Which Penn Relays race was harder?
I would say the 4x8, just because it felt like a time trial. I mean, it looked easier, but the DMR was a little more of like sit and kick race. So like it was just intense in the last 100 meters. But the 4x8, like running 900 solo is very tough. Like you gotta pace yourself. Like you gotta keep pushing, even though like you are not racing. Well, I mean, you're racing against people, but like I wasn't really competing literally against anybody. But yeah, the 4x8 was definitely a little harder. And also the 800, I feel it's a little harder than the mile.
Yeah. All right, this will be the last one just because it's in Spanish and I'm probably gonna embarrass myself. This is by Abar Santa Maria. Don't make fun of me.
No.
It says Proximia Competición en España.
Okay, so my next competition in Spain, definitely Spanish Championship. The Spanish trials for World Championships. I think that's gonna be the next one for me. And yeah, hopefully it's gonna get a spot for the World Championship team and the European Championship team. Last year I was there at the Olympic trials and I missed the Olympic team by less than a second. So this year, I have a lot of motivation to just get one of those spots. It's gonna be hard because like Spain is one of the best countries in the 1500 right now, I would say. But definitely, like I'm very motivated and very excited to just come back home, race in front of my parents because they weren't able to watch me last year at the trials because the pandemic. But yeah, I'm just very excited to race in front of my family and my friends.
Awesome. Well, if you got anything else to say to your fans, to future competitors, I think this will be up, pretty much right before SEC. So obviously, good luck. Hopefully, we'll be posting something right after, congratulating you. But if you want to say anything else to everyone else, by all means, leave the stage.
I would just love to say like thank you to everybody that supports Ole Miss and supports me. Like I think it's very cool to go to races and like having people ask you for photos, having people ask you for like autographs, or like just people like wishing you good luck, or like taking a moment to talk to you, or like people that like send me DMs on Instagram like asking me for advice. Like that makes me feel very like grateful to be in this spot in my career. And like I think they make like running a bigger sport, and I'm very excited in the sport. So.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking this time with me. I know it's a very busy week for you, but good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'll see you at regionals. Maybe. Maybe we can link up there. But with everything in the future, post everything. Good luck, and can't wait to see what's next for you, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for taking your time to like interview me and like letting people to get to know me a little more. And yeah, hopefully I see you at regionals, and hopefully we have a little more to talk about after that.
Yeah, of course. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.